AC Milan's breathtaking winger and Portugal's rising star, Rafael Leão, is a player who makes football look easy. He has the pace, the flair, and the highlight reel moments that flood YouTube and social media. But beyond the aesthetics, something doesn't add up. Why does Rafael look like a superstar one moment and disappear the next? Why do fans still question his consistency? Why do stretches of brilliance fade into frustrating silence? Is he truly the next big thing? Or is there a flaw lurking beneath the surface that nobody wants to admit? This is the scary truth about Rafael nobody is noticing. Stick around, hit that like button, and subscribe, because what you're about to see might just change everything. It is almost impossible to imagine Rafael wearing anything apart from the iconic red and black of AC Milan these days. He has become such a huge part of their identity that it feels like he has been there forever. But before he burst into the spotlight in that amazing 21-22 season, his journey started in a very different place, the Sporting CP's Academy. He joined Sporting Youth's setup when he was just 9 years old and would spend nearly a decade there. He eventually made his senior debut for the club in the 2017-18 season, but just as his professional career was beginning to take shape, everything took a dramatic turn. That same season, he made the shocking decision to walk away from Sporting, terminating his contract unilaterally. And this was because of the infamous May 2018 attack, where around 50 angry Sporting supporters stormed the club's training ground and physically assaulted players and staff. It was an ugly moment in the club's history, and for Rafael, it was enough to say arrivederci. His next destination was Lille in France. Before arriving in Lille, he wasn't exactly a household name when he left Portugal. In fact, he was far from an established first-team player. By the time he made his senior debut in February 2018, he had only managed 3 appearances in the league, scoring once in a game against Porto. Most of his action had come with Sporting's B team, where he played 18 games in all competitions and scored up to 12 goals. So while he clearly had talent, the wider football world hadn't really seen what he was capable of yet. But that all changed in France. At Lille, he spent just 1 season, but it was enough to make people sit up and take notice. Under the guidance of Christophe Galtier, Leao was primarily deployed as a striker, and he started showing glimpses of the player he would become. He bagged 8 goals in 26 competitive appearances, helping Lille secure a second-place finish in the 2018-19 League One season. It was in that campaign that he started proving he was more than just a promising youngster. He was a star in the making, so it wasn't exactly a surprise when Milan pulled up in France to pay a fee of 35 million euros for the youngster in 2019. His first season at Milan was all about growth. He was still young, learning and finding his place in the team that was rebuilding itself. But even though he was not the main man yet, he showed glimpses of what was coming. One of his biggest highlights in that first season was scoring in Milan's 4-2 win over Juventus. By the end of the season, he had 6 goals in 31 league games and played his part in the team's 10-game unbeaten run that secured a 6th-place finish. In his second season, the young winger scored 7 goals and added 6 assists, including 2 braces against Spezia. He also got his first European goal in a 3-0 Europa League win over Sparta Prague. But the moment that put him in the history books came in December 2020. It was a game against Sassuolo, where the Portuguese scored just 6 seconds after kickoff, making it the fastest goal ever in Serie A and in Europe's top 5 leagues. He kept finding ways to make an impact, scoring in a 2-0 win over Benevento, and becoming the second youngest foreign player to hit double digits in the Serie A for Milan, behind only Alexandre Pato. His numbers were not world-class yet, but the signs were there. It was only a matter of time. Then came the breakthrough season in 21-22, where he became Milan's go-to guy. He led the team to a Serie A title with 14 goals and 12 assists and was named the league's MVP. Leao kept the momentum going the following season, hitting double digits in both goals and assists once again. His performances were so good that he earned a spot among the 30 nominees for the 22 Ballon d'Or, finishing 14th in voting, making him the highest-ranked Portuguese player that year. Beyond the league, he played a massive role in Milan's Champions League run, helping them reach the quarter-finals for the first time in over a decade. One of his standout moments came in the first leg against Napoli, where he assisted the only goal in a 1-1 draw. By the end of the season, he had 16 goals and 12 assists across all competitions. At this point, he was already becoming the team's reference point, and so it wasn't exactly shocking that Milan's higher-ups decided to reward their star man the next season by handing him the number 10 shirt. But from the moment he took that number, things started to get complicated. His performances have become a hot topic, with fans, ex-players, and pundits questioning whether he was doing enough. But before we get into all that, Take a second to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Done? Good. Now let's get into the scary part. You go online these days, and there are two very clear camps when it comes to him. On one side, you have those who believe he is a victim of Milan's poor tactical setup. On the other side, you have those who are tiring of the excuses and point to his inconsistency in games. It is either the Portuguese isn't putting in the work defensively, or he isn't scoring enough. Spend a few minutes on social media and you will see tweets like these. Leao is mad annoying, because he has bags of ability, but he's lazy as hell and spends too much time going through the motions. Needs to up his application levels. Can only justify being lazy like that if you're a shooter. He simply cannot be considered one of the best wingers in the world. I'm sorry. The idea of Leao is nice, but you watch the brother consistently. So overrated. These takes might sound harsh, but they're becoming more common. The question is, do they have a point, or is he being unfairly judged? Let's start with his defensive contributions, or more accurately, the lack of them. And before anyone throws the woke football accusation at us for expecting a winger to defend, let's be real. His attacking output isn't good enough to justify how little he does without the ball. The issue is not just a fan debate. It's a concern for the people who actually make the decisions. Like Paulo Fonseca at the start of the season, he was so unimpressed with his off-the-work ball that he benched him for several matches, choosing players like Noah Akfor instead because they offered more balance to the team. And to be honest, in his defense of Leao, defending is a mindset. Most top attacking players are not thrilled about tracking back, but if you are winning games on your own, managers are willing to give you some leeway. The problem is that modern football does not allow for many passenger spots, even for the most talented players. This was exactly the message Milan's current coach, Sergio, seems to be sending to him. The Portuguese winger has been in and out of the starting 11, and Sergio's comments make it clear why. He can do so much more because he has incredible quality and is a player of another level. He must work hard, even when he doesn't have the ball, because he plays in a collective and must make himself available to the team. Leaving the comfort zone isn't easy, but for me, it's essential. The message could not be clearer. Get involved in the defensive side of the game. Under Stefano Pioli, he pretty much had a free pass in that department because the idea was to keep him fresh and focused on attack. However, that luxury no longer exists. Sergio does not do passengers. He has made it very clear that if you are not pulling your weight off the ball, you're not playing. And this is not just talk. He has a track record of making tough calls. At Porto, he even benched his son when he felt he was not meeting the team's demands. That tells you everything you need to know about how he operates. Reputation is not relevant. If you are not doing what is required, you're sitting on the bench. And these are not the first managers to question Rafael's application. Although he gave the Portuguese leeway to operate as he liked, former AC manager Stefano, the coach who led Milan to a Serie A title, had his doubts about the winger's consistency. The current Al Nassr coach had this to say about his former talisman in the last season. In training, he does everything to perfection. He moves a lot and very well. Then in the match, he does less. You could tell there's a recurring pattern here with all three managers, suggesting that he has all the tools, but struggles to apply them consistently when it matters. But what do you think? Is the criticism of his defensive work fair? Or are people being too harsh on a player who gives everything going forward? Let me know in the comments. Now, speaking of his attacking output, let's get into that. Does Rafael deliver enough in terms of goals and assists? Or is he just an aesthetic merchant who looks good on the ball but doesn't do enough damage? Since joining Milan in 2019, he has scored 68 goals and provided 54 assists in 250 games. Decent numbers, no doubt. Given his valuation of 150 million euros, there is a feeling that he could be doing more. His performances have been a major talking point, especially when it comes to his goal-scoring record, which has led to a public back and forth with former Milan player Antonio Cassano. Rafael has not taken kindly to Cassano's criticisms, and he showed that one time when he responded with a series of clown emojis on X on a video of ranting about his performances. But what did Cassano really say? Here is just one of the many rants about the Portuguese forward. Leao thinks he is a genius, and some even agree with him. I just consider him a good player, and I have not changed my mind on that. For 5.5 months, he didn't score in a poor league like Serie A. Years ago, he would have struggled to play for the 6th or 7th team in the league. Would Leao really have struggled as some mid-table Serie A level player, like Cassano suggests? Sounds ridiculous if you think about it. But what isn't when talking about his shortcomings is his decision-making. Now, this one is interesting, because at his best, his decision-making is what makes him special. He is not just a speedster who runs down the wing and crosses blindly. He is a playmaker from the left, a guy who can create something out of nothing. But lately, something feels off. There are times when he makes some truly bizarre choices. He takes wild shots from outside the box that have no real chance of going in. He tries to dribble his way out of situations where a simple pass would have been the better option. And sometimes, it's just the little things, like holding on the ball for too long when a quick release would create a dangerous attack. It is like he is second-guessing himself more than he used to. And for a player of his level, that is a problem. Then there is the big game conversation. We have to go there. There was a time when Milan's entire attacking threat in big matches felt like it depended on him. If he played well, they had a shot. If he disappeared, they were in trouble. But that seems to be over. Take Milan's 2-1 win over Inter in September 2024. For example, almost every single Milan player on that pitch put in a shift. Everyone, except him. The Portuguese star looked sluggish, completely uninspired, and wasted multiple big chances, including a free header just seconds into the second half. Now, to be fair, he has still had some big moments. He did his thing against Madrid in the early stages of the Champions League in the 24-25 season, so it's not like he has completely fallen off, but it does not feel like Milan are as dependent on him in big matches as they once were. The whole "if Leao turns up, we have a chance" vibe is fading, and that is something to think about. The lively winger is at a crossroads at this point in his career. He isn't a frequent starter at Milan like before, and one could only wonder if he'll get back to his role as Milan's undisputed star. The Milan fans would definitely love to see that happen. With him, they have seen glimpses of brilliance, but they have also seen moments where he just disappears. His defensive work, decision-making, and impact in big games are all under the spotlight, and with a no-nonsense coach like Sergio in charge, he either steps up or risks spending more time on the bench. So what do you think? Are people being too harsh on him? Or does he need to improve to justify his superstar status? Do you still see him as Milan's main man for the future? Or is it time to start looking elsewhere? Let me know in the comments. I'm reading them all. Before you head out, make sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next breakdown. And while you are here, take a look around. There is plenty more content just like this waiting for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.